and for agents, public and private, to be able to use and leverage AI in a way that is really ethical. Then we were also, of course, we are fully aware that even if we were early in the game of AI, like our countries were starting to discuss to get to the recommendation already in 2019. And I mean, Australia, of course, was also around the table. But you know that AI is always in the making. And there are already algorithms that are out there and systems that are out there. And so we developed what is called the ethical impact assessment, which is a tool that actually says, regardless of the stage of development in which an AI system is, we have to ensure that, the outcome, the deliverable, is actually complying with human rights, human dignities, and fundamental freedoms. To date, we have 77 going, and we have discussion with other 4 countries, member states, that have gone through the RAM. They either have finalized it, or they are starting now, or are in the process of completion. And what have we learned from that? Well, a lot. To start with, that there is no such a thing as the best practice. Forget about that. Nobody, even those that have done AI for a long time, have the whole set right. So there is a learning for everybody from the analysis done in each and every country. And that's why we keep pushing for everybody to go through this. And we are very convinced of evidence-based policymaking in the sense that unless you nail down, first of all, whether there is a problem and which one it is, and how you define it and what are the components, then solution can be worse than the problem itself. And that's why we think the RAM is very important to tell countries these are areas where you might need to improve and to offer them possibilities based on analysis done in other countries that perhaps have that very problem sorted out in a way that is compatible with your system, with your approach. And actually, Katie was mentioning it before, and then we have to pay attention to an expression that is a bit complicated to say, but actually is very important in practice, that is regulatory interlink, the fact that it can be linked to each other or can be actually used in a setting that is multilateral. Because AI is a technology that doesn't know any boundaries. And therefore, if we start putting settings and frameworks that actually speak only to a local type of setting, it means that in reality, your business, your users, will face a number of problems because every time they will need to go elsewhere, they will need to adapt. And adaptation costs actually can raise the cost of the technology itself.
I have a follow-up question on being a multilateral AI, but I will ask that a little later. But I have a comment to make. On RAM, it is not something that is airdropped suddenly right now, right? I mean, I know that you have been touring across the globe, evangelizing this for quite some time. And this is more than a year now?
Yeah, it's much more than that. The RAM was ready, actually already in 2022. And so we started working, and UNESCO as priority, this is called priority area. So we actually started very soon with the support, for instance, of Japan as countries, the McGovern Foundation, that I'm happy the president is here today with us, the European Commission, that actually supported us to perform the RAMs, even in countries that wouldn't be able to afford to do this activity. And then we constituted 2 groups. One of them, actually an initiative you mentioned, that is the observatory, that is by the time we create knowledge, that knowledge to benefit society and humanity has to be shared. So that was one of the principles. But then, of course, in order to understand better the context of the RAMs, we needed to also work with local experts and bring experts from other places because the nuances are many. You need economists, you need IT specialists, you need lawyers, you need regulators. And so we have created this expert of AI without borders, ethical experts of AI without borders. The idea being of having people that are knowledgeable about what ethical AI means and the specific aspect that may be a stake, for instance, a regulation on data, for instance, and be able to be deployed in a country that has realized actually needs to address that shortcoming and be able to do it in a swift and in a way that is actually enabling this ability to advance and also avoid, to some extent, mistakes done in the past, because pioneers might have advantages because they are first off to develop something, but very often the risk, not doing perhaps the perfect thing or the best thing that can be done because it's an exploration phase that may or may not be successful. So also to learn from the good things done elsewhere, but also by the mistake, thus avoiding them.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Ankur, I'll come back to you. I did say I have a follow-up question on the agent securing the loan. I'm still able to get my head around that. Now, you did say that you're not going to govern the agent, you're going to govern the human behind the agent, right? So you're going to look at the credit worthiness of the human. But when we are looking at autonomous AI agents and the skills and all that, same agent can represent multiple different humans. And there is so complicated mesh that is out there. Being a regulatory body, what is the role like for supervision of these autonomous agents, accountability, consumer protection, that the agent is acting only on behalf of a human and not otherwise, not other rogue agents and things like that. Have you considered this? And see, we did lead the world in digital payments, right, with the UPIs and others. So do you think in the so-called the agentic banking model kind of thing,